Now, I need you to stand up if you are one of the graduating members of the Trinity School of Durham and Chapel Hill's class of 2026. All right, stay standing. Stay standing. Okay, if you start at no, stay standing. What instructions, folks? Okay, if you start at Trinity in upper school, sit back down. If you start at Trinity in middle school, sit back down. If you start at Trinity in grades 4 through 6, sit back down. If you started in 2 through 3, sit back down. Okay, lifers, sit back down. Thanks again to all of you seniors who have inspired these tributes this evening, and to your family and friends for celebrating this special evening with us. And now I'm turning the mic over to our upper school director, Dr. Parrish.
Appreciate it. I am going to bless the food and thank the Lord for our opportunity to gather. So at this point, please don't be consuming it. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight, and we're all connected because we all know someone's going to be graduating in the next few hours. We've been counting down days, now we're counting down hours. And we are all blessed to have had these individuals as a part of our lives up to this point. We are thankful to have known them, and we just pray for their continued connection over these next years. And just a special time here as we gather tonight, as we praise and honor and even joke a little about some of the things that we've gotten to know about them over these years. We thank you for this food you've provided and all the hands that prepared it, and those that work to put this event together. It's not a simple thing. We thank you for each of the family members who are part of the lives, and for the teachers who have invested so much in these lives. And we praise you in your son's name. Amen. As we get going, if many of you have been here before because you have older students or family members, and this is not new for you, but some of you are new. Some of you have come from overseas. This is the first time you've been a part of our community like this, and this is a tradition that Trinity's had for a long time. I don't know if forever, but a long time. And so teachers will come up to say a word about each one of the graduates, and to me, this is as good a picture of known and loved as we have here at Trinity. You didn't know all the things that your teachers knew about you. I didn't know some of these things about you till I read through some of these tributes. It will be a fun night, but there are a lot of you all, so we have something to hide the teachers as they're coming up. So when you see your picture up here, you're next, but you don't know who's behind there going to be presenting your tribute, all right? And we will just roll through the teachers as each one comes up. I want to reference back to last week. Many of you, not all of you, were at our senior awards celebration. I think it was Wednesday last week. And I talked about Philippians 4:8 there, and focusing on the things that are good and honorable and the things that we should be focusing on. We are going to be focusing on those good things that each one of you bring. None of us are perfect, but all of you have brought something good to this school, to this class, things that will remain. And so, without further ado, I think we'll bring up the first presenter, Mr.
All right, bat and lead off with a baseball player. There you are. Nathan, it's been such a joy getting to know you. Yeah, go ahead and stand up. Your friends are trying to get you to stand up. Go ahead. It's been such a joy getting to know you over these last few years, watching you grow in your faith as a student, as a baseball player. It's been really incredible. From early on, you stood out as someone willing to lead, whether that was being one of the first students to pray in advisory, or stepping up in bigger ways this year, leading at the Miracle Baseball League, our senior retreat, and senior-led worship. It's been really cool watching your baseball journey. I remember seeing your talent back in middle school and really early in your varsity career. But over the last 2 years, you've really grown in your discipline and hard work, your commitment. And one of the highlights was this season, your first home run at St. David's, seeing you round the bases while your teammates celebrated captured not only just the joy of the moment, but just the respect and the love that they have for you as a player and leader. You're a true captain on and off the field. You gave your own time to lead workouts and help strengthen the team, always focusing on others, helping them to improve. And what makes your leadership special is that you're not seeking attention for yourself. Instead, you consistently encourage and highlight others. The guys are really going to miss your leadership. You're a great example of what a leader should look like. Your confidence comes from knowing that your worth is not dependent on baseball or accomplishments, but on Christ. You embody Philippians 2:3-4, which says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others above yourselves, looking not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others." Your humility, faith, and character have made a lasting impact on the people around you, and I can't wait to see what God has in store for you at Covenant.
Maya Brandt, where are you at? There you are. Stand. Before coming to Trinity, I spent a lot of years in strategic planning, trying to predict requirements and develop plans for problems 10 years in the future. Even with that background, I don't think I've ever met someone who thinks 6 or maybe 7 steps ahead the way you do. Deadlines, schedules, responsibilities, unfinished tasks, you always seem to have them running simultaneously in the back of your mind. While everyone else would pause and breathe, you were already asking, okay, but what's next? What are we forgetting? You care deeply about the people around you and the work you're doing together. You're constantly checking in, making sure things stayed on track, and making sure everyone else was okay, because success only mattered to you if the whole team succeeded together. A lot of people might simply see someone who's keeping everyone organized. I see someone, excuse me, who already understands leadership better than many people with decades of experience. Leadership is about people, understanding what motivates them, how to encourage them, and sometimes how to keep them moving forward when they lose focus. At the same time, you had one habit that never stopped amusing me. Almost daily, I would hear you say, "I am so stupid," only to follow it up with moments later by saying, "Wait, I'm a genius." Sometimes this cycle repeated several times in a single class, and somehow both statements were delivered with the same confidence. But what I'll remember most is your joy. Even with all the pressure and overthinking, you brought lightness into stressful moments. You smiled easily, made people feel comfortable, and carried a happiness that made every room better and every moment you walked in, the moment you walked into it. Yeah.
I first met Kamaya Brown when she, as a junior, came into my sophomore humanities class just to visit. She proceeded to be the MVP of the class discussion that day, and I knew that I had met someone unique and special. Next, Kamaya proceeded to exuberantly greet me, smile wide, joy evident every time she saw me. We are a small place, but I cannot tell you how good it feels to have someone call you by your name with real welcome. And I know that Kamaya has called the names of so many peers in this room the exact same way. I really got to know Kamaya watching her launch and lead a poetry club and write her own pieces in my creative writing class. She read and wrote poetry for her capstone too, and so, Kamaya, I want to try to give you a poem tonight. An ode to Kamaya. It's important to know that she really loves the color green. Okay. Nature's first green is gold. Her first instinct is beauty. Never satisfied with cliched ideas or methods, she is an engine that thrives on creativity. She doesn't need a text to entertain her. In order to lean in, she lifts the room, adds texture. She stitches together cloth, and she stitches together people who might otherwise be a little bit lost. Emerald, lime, chartreuse, Kelly, and jade, how did we not realize that one color was so complexly made? That a color such as viridian even exists? She loves rain, loves to eat a muffin in the morning. She lets loose from God's green earth and hurls herself into the sky. She speaks poetry into the world, invites you to breathe a haiku, write a tanka, weave a sestina. She loves God and seeks wisdom. She lies down in God's green pastures, and all the while she gathers, she shepherds, she invites you too.
Lucy, the photo of you and my daughter Maeve is front and center on her bulletin board. You can see a twinkle in her eyes as she looked up at you in your curly blonde wig and satin gown, looking as chic as ever. It's easy to see the impact of your presence all over Trinity, especially in the people who have been touched by your life. The investment you made in the next generation of performers will live on long after you leave this place. The undertaking of the lower school musical required both creativity and collaboration. I watched you form a team of peers inspired by your willingness to go the extra mile for the good of the whole. That kind of impactful leadership has been evident in your contagious enthusiasm that inspires others. Simply put, you are thoughtful in every endeavor. You see connections that enrich those around you. Your commitment to excellence and community building is remarkable. Lucy, I have watched you grow into an impactful woman of worth. You confidently lead with heart, and you know when to step back in humility to allow space for others to lead. I have watched you balance both pep and poise, from creating community through memorable events to elevating access by sharing your gift for American Sign Language. You have made Trinity better because of who you are. I remember your heartfelt tributes for your castmates from Mary Poppins. As the wind changes for you, Lucy, hold on to your roots. Keep growing. I can't wait to see how the Lord continues to work in and through your life in this next chapter. Congratulations, you are so loved.
Judah, remember that time they got our cookout order mixed up and you got my peanut butter milkshake? That's how I learned you were allergic to peanuts. Fortunately, I didn't have to use an EpiPen that night, that shot of adrenaline that treats allergic reactions, but it does make me consider all the ways you've been an absolute shot in the arm for everyone here at Trinity. Your mom once told me that you were her miracle child. This has always stuck with me, especially in light of your volunteer work with Durham's Miracle League. Almost everyone in this room has seen your artwork, which so compellingly reflects the cosmic miracle of creation, God's artwork. It's also somewhat miraculous that a large, athletic, all-conference baseball player with a beautiful swing could be so humble. It reminds me of a story about a young Benjamin Franklin who was walking down a hallway with a mentor who suddenly yelled, "Stoop, Benjamin!" But too caught up in his own performance, Franklin rammed his head into a ceiling beam. But you, Judah, you have already stooped. You have already humbled yourself. I've always been incredibly impressed by how deferential you are to your parents, your teachers, and your coaches, and how you never seem to get caught up in your own performance or your many academic and athletic accolades. The Apostle Paul tells the Philippians to let the same mind be in them that was in Christ Jesus, who, though he existed in the form of God, humbled himself and stooped. This truly is a miracle, Judah, that a young man like you could take on the mind of Christ and inspire someone like me. Indeed, it's quite a shot in the arm. Andrew, where's Andrew? There he is, okay, standing up right in front of me. Andrew, I once read that a thriving culture is one that strikes a balance between piety and play, or seriousness and lightheartedness. If there's anyone who strikes that balance almost to perfection, it's you. All of your teachers, classmates, and coaches know how mischievously playful you can be. For me, it was the Great Gatsby art project that you left hanging in the dugout, featuring menacing imagery that almost got the Durham Police Department called on us. It was seeing and smelling your bare feet, as you seemed to never wear shoes unless someone forced you to. It was finding dog excrement behind the baseball shed and listening to you jokingly accuse me of doing the deed myself. A joke that was repeated so often that some people, including you, I think, started to believe it. But you also have a pious side, a serious side. There's the man at work, tamping the mound clay and raking the dirt, with your shoes off, of course. There's the matter-of-fact temperament that you carry into almost every conversation. You once said, in all seriousness, that playing in the outfield is peaceful. There's something almost religious about that claim, and the same could be said of fishing and hunting, two pastimes that you also enjoy. That one could find peace within a game is evidence of the power of play to bring stability in this destabilizing world. This is the tension between play and piety that creates culture. Not so playful that everything becomes trivial, and not so pious that everything becomes rigid. And that's what you did here at Trinity, Andrew. Whether it was in the classroom or on the baseball diamond, you made sure we didn't take ourselves too seriously, while also entreating us to find serious things behind the veil of play. You helped to make this culture what it is. Thank you for that.
There she is. Want you all to look at that smile. Reagan, I'm going to talk for a moment about your smile, because to know you is to know that. It comes readily and often. On some, maybe a smile is just a brave face, or it means you're a Pollyanna with a blind preference for the bright side. You're unfamiliar with trouble, avoidant. But there's nothing artificial about your smile, because there's nothing artificial about you. And blind avoidance when it comes to Reagan Chalfin is laughable. In fact, I need to take this moment to introduce you to something, Reagan. It's called the path of least resistance. Clearly, you've never heard of it. Your paths are full of resistance. You know what it is to deal with academic challenge, but your consistent choice is rigor. Neither is musical theater for the faint of heart, especially if you don't love the spotlight. But you participated anyway, with gumption and joy. And you never took it easy on the track team. One of your coaches called you ferociously competitive. You earned your role as co-captain through years of commitment, helping to set and clean up around practice, supporting your teammates. This year's new conference brought its own challenges, but you never lost your grit. Your coaches didn't award you the Lion Heart for nothing. And then there was your capstone last summer, weeks spent training in evangelism and biblical studies, followed by more weeks serving children and the homeless in Cape Town, South Africa. Your project was laced with challenge and the unknown, and you faced it all with bravery, met it with heart, and responded to it with joy. No, yours isn't a smile based on blindness or avoidance. You found rest in Christ and his peace, and they overflow in that smile.
I sing of a new American, separate from all others, yet enlarged, and diminished by all others. Kelly, these words from the African-American poet Polly Murray, which I hope you know, make me think of you for several reasons. She's talking about being part of a community and yet not feeling a full sense of belonging. She's talking about taking that lonely feeling and using it to connect with others and to explore the world around you with curiosity and wonder. You've done this so beautifully at Trinity. You joined student ambassadors to help other international students learn about and adjust to Trinity School. You took charge of celebrating Chinese New Year in the upper school to reflect the importance of this event, supplying lanterns for students to paint, red envelopes for notes and prayers for a good year, and perhaps most importantly, some legit spicy Chinese food. You took the things that you missed and turned them into care for others and an opportunity to make them feel at home. In doing so, you made an impact on Trinity School that will far outlast your time here. You've also grown further in your curiosity about the world, other cultures, other people. You threw yourself into studying American history, culture, and literature. In the middle of your cultural immersion experience in the US, you even sought an additional immersion experience in Costa Rica to see more and to discover more. As you continue to explore the world and connect with new people at UBC and beyond, I can't think of better words to leave you with than the conclusion of Murray's poem. I seek no conquest, no wealth, no power, no revenge. I seek only discovery of the illimitable heights and depths of my own being. Continue seeking discovery, Kelly. Congratulations.
This might surprise some of you, but teenagers often have strong opinions. Josiah Colby, he holds on tightly to his. For example, last Friday, he was ranting about how Monster Hunter Stories is the superior monster taming series, especially compared to Pokemon. And while we all know that is an absolutely unhinged take, Josiah holds on to this take and all of his views strongly, which is admirable in high school when the pressures to think and act like everyone else are high. Josiah knows who he is and what he believes, and he won't back down, especially about the things that matter. I never would have expected an 18-year-old to have so much to say about the former Hungarian authoritarian regime, for example. Likewise, I was not expecting his capstone presentation about the novel he's been writing to turn into a fierce condemnation of power and the abuses that often come with it. It is clear that Josiah has been growing into someone who wrestles to see the difference between what is and what should be, and is not afraid to stand up and fight to bring justice into the world. So, Josiah, my hope for you is that you hold on to your ardor for truth and goodness, that you always have the courage to speak up on behalf of the things you believe in, even when there's a 31-year-old man in your face telling you how Pokemon is clearly the better franchise.
Where's Angie? Angie, during your capstone presentation, you made a comment that in 9th grade, you had the thought that maybe you didn't belong at Trinity. You didn't fit in, and you didn't see this community as a place where you should stay. I admit, hearing you say that produced two feelings within me. First, it was heartbreaking. But it also made me deeply joyful that you chose to stay. You have not only found a place for yourself within our community, but you have also helped shape our community. Had you left in 9th grade, the Trinity that I know and love would be different and not for the better. When I think of you fitting in at Trinity, it's not like finding a spot for a new book on an already full bookcase. It's like putting an essential piece of machine in its proper place. The Leones Club had great success this year, and you bear much of the credit for that. You worked hard to create a club where others would find what you were missing, and that is more than commendable. Last year in economics, your business flourished. Mr. Underwood, more than once, would boast of how hard you worked on your project, how early you would get up to prepare the meals, how tenacious you were to sell them inside and outside of the school, and how you didn't stop the project just when you would earn an A, but kept the hard work up just to be successful. Everyone has seen the effort and success of Leone's. Many saw the results of your econ project, but only a few of us teachers saw this day in and day out in the classroom. You care deeply about doing well, you treat others with dignity and respect, and you are kind to a degree that is almost foreign to others. I am so proud of you, proud of who you are, of who you strive to be. I'm proud to have had the blessing to teach you and to walk the halls with you. May the Lord go before you in all of your endeavors at Durham Tech and beyond. May his face shine upon you, and may you see his goodness in the land of the living.
Laureano's presence as a bright light in our community is best represented by his easy smile that lights up every room. It lights up every room. Nito, as those who love him call him, has brought light and laughter to our school with his humble spirit and readiness to welcome everyone. Nito is a leader who serves behind the scenes, making things better for everyone, often without recognition. Nito is especially concerned with those who might feel left out or left behind, and he has put in long hours to make our school a better place for such students. Because Nito understands that we are only as strong as the communities we're a part of. Nito doesn't see himself as a lone hero, but rather is always mindful of where he came from and who supported him along the way. This has shown up in countless ways, working hard to support his family and contribute to his family's business, passing along family recipes through very popular classes, teaching students how to make guacamole and pico de gallo, serving younger students at Durham Nativity School, and launching new initiatives to recruit more DNS students to Trinity. Laureano's wisdom, a wisdom well beyond his years, can be captured in two truths that I think you understand, Nito, and you embody. We are who we are because of the people we surround ourselves with. And what matters most is contributing to the good of our communities. Nito, you have brought us so much good because your bright smile lighting up our halls represents something more. You have modeled for us a deep and abiding joy, a joy won through resilience in the face of struggles, struggles that have cultivated in you not despair, but hope, and not self-pity, but rather deep empathy for others. Thank you for these gifts. Bendiciones a ti. Te queremos mucho.
Chris has a playful, if odd, sense of humor. One day I was walking through the Commons, had to do a double take because Chris was working on his laptop. Lo and behold, there's a cover of my face on his laptop. It's flattering, also a little weird. I take it as an honor. Later in the year, again, walking down the Commons and up on our Christmas tree, there's my face. Weird, but an honor. I'm going to hard pivot here to Psalm 100. Yeah, thank you. Psalm 100 begins by saying, "Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs." This verse makes me think about Chris because he just radiates joy. One area that his joy shines through is in worship, either as a leader or encouraging others to lead. For example, he's just willingly filled the gap at his church when worship leaders were transitioning and they needed to step up, and he stepped up. He doesn't lead worship to draw attention to himself or showcase his own talents, but to point others to the greatness of God and invite them into worship alongside him. But what has been most impactful to me, though, is the joy that Chris has carried through his difficult seasons. Chris and I bonded over a shared grief of losing a mom to cancer these last few years. Once he shared in a Cornerstone devotional just about the goodness of God in the midst of these hard times. It is just a tremendous blessing to me. More recently, we had a meaningful conversation about the impact of suffering that it's had on our lives and the realness of God's love for us in those seasons. Chris, God's filled you with his joy. He's going before you at liberty, and I can't wait to see how God uses you for his kingdom.
Miles, when I think of you, a phrase that immediately comes to mind is iron sharpens iron. Your presence makes everyone around you better by challenging, encouraging, and strengthening them. Iron itself can be magnetic, malleable, and sharp, words which also apply to you. You are magnetic. You created quite a splash walking into Advanced Theater, a class of 11 other students who'd performed many shows together. Your first scene reading was incredible, and every student sat up straight, eyes widening, and gave their best auditions yet. People want to be around you because you are a kind and generous friend to all. You draw others in, yes, to your performances, but also to friendship and to worship, and your impact stretches beyond the stage and raises the bar for all of us. Iron sharpens iron. You are malleable. Whether shape-shifting into wildly different characters on stage or moving to a new school right before your junior year, you have been flexible and adaptable. Through Civil Discourse Club, you engage people in challenging conversations, willing to reconsider your opinions, but also unafraid to hold to your convictions on things that matter most. You've allowed God to use a variety of circumstances to shape you into his image. Iron sharpens iron. Last, you are sharp, clever and bright, with a quick mind gifted to you by God, and the perceptiveness to pursue truth with grace and sincerity. You possess a keen ability to see straight to the heart of a situation, whether it's a friend in need, a complex social issue, a character on stage. Iron sharpens iron. Thank you, Miles, for pushing us to pursue truth, goodness, and beauty. We will miss you next year, and you are so loved, but we are excited to see what other iron you will sharpen on your next adventure.
Nathaniel de Guzman. I once read a poem you wrote that began, "Me love cookies and me love math." Side quest here, Natty T. I know that was ChatGPT. Close enough. If I had known that 3 years ago, though, I might have understood you sooner. Looking at you, though, I thought I saw a designer at heart, not someone who is merely building things, but someone who sees beauty in what people can make. You bring balance, detail, and creativity into engineering. And somewhere deep down, you seem convinced that if something's not beautiful, it's not done. Your poem went on to discuss imaginary numbers and what might happen if you took the square root of a negative cookie. The math department in the back can figure that out. I still don't fully understand it, but it reminds me of a conversation burned in my memory. You walked into my room talking through some newfangled idea you had, and then you almost timidly said, "You were right." I remember it so clearly because you said it with such sincerity and humility that it felt like witnessing a solar eclipse. It was meaningful, memorable, and probably never going to happen again. Some people might see your determination to be right as stubbornness, but I've watched it become something much better, a commitment to getting things right and making them beautiful and balanced. Others are satisfied once something works. You keep refining, adjusting, and reimagining. Over the years, I've seen you grow from someone who mainly defends your ideas into someone who generally listens, considers advice carefully, and then confidently follows your own plan. What I remember most, though, is the energy you brought into every room. Nathaniel, the world needs people who can not only, I'm going to mess it up again. Nathaniel, the world needs people who care not only whether something functions, but whether it's inspirable and whether or not it's truly good.
Alexa was in her sophomore year when I first became her advisor. And the thing about her that struck me the most was how totally redundant I was as her advisor. As we sat down to develop some goals for the quarter, She didn't just outline her plan for the entirety of high school, balancing 4 years' worth of rigorous courses with her tennis coaching. No, she also laid out her designs to go into anesthesiology, replete with already arranged shadowing opportunities and carefully researched medical schools. Alexa, when I look at you, I see a young woman with vision, with plans, with prudence to pivot when necessary, and with such sheer determination. You work so hard in your classes, motivated not by the grade, but the desire to learn and to master the material. How many teachers can say that their student, that their second semester senior, consistently improved over the course of the year? Every one of your teachers can say that about you. Your diligence and your tenacity will ensure that you thrive in medicine. However, through your experiences shadowing healthcare providers and your time spent at the prestigious UNC Outset program, you also internalized how important the relational aspect is in the medical field. At Trinity, your empathy is clear as we see you genuinely care for others, rejoicing with them in the highs and accompanying them in the lows. One particular beautiful combination of these qualities can be found through your impressive 4-year tenure coaching middle school tennis, where you consistently mentored younger students and helped them become the best tennis players they could be. Your calm demeanor, persistent diligence, prudent determination, and compassionate empathy will make you a phenomenal healthcare professional. They already make you a vital part of our community here at Trinity, and they undoubtedly will at USC. And as many here can attest, they make you an invaluable friend. We will miss you next year. On to the next phase.
Good evening. Let's see. Elijah Dinsmore. We have quite a wonderful diversity of student species in the halls of Trinity. What I call the middle school salmon run happens about 5 times a day. The sporty spice types playing spike ball and frisbee in the courtyard, and a mezzanine full of vineyard vine quarter zips. Much like the rare snow leopard, Elijah struts around the corner in linen pants and flat collar cashmere shirts. The snow leopard is so majestic that one wonders, is it misplaced? But it is actually what they call a keystone species, helps balance, regulate multiple ecosystems in the area. And as we close the distance to one another, I wonder, is this gentle giant quaffing his well-conditioned hair? Does he play a similar role? Elijah moves seamlessly from space to space, lacing up his boots after performing in the worship band. He stops by the ping pong table like a character out of Breakfast Club to share a laugh with a table tennis crew. A Renaissance man. But when you talk to Elijah, he has a rare pastoral trait where your heart rate lowers, your breathing slows, and you feel like he wants to listen to every good and bad thing you have to say. Perhaps his keystone ability, whether in the boot room or in the classroom, comes from a way of inspiring an uncommon vulnerability. He was okay that our captains were imperfect and gave them space to learn while seeking no recognition as a leader himself, even though he was one. Bridging the team's ecosystems with empathy, listening without judgment, in his own way taught the team wrought with conflict, self-doubt, and identity crisis to trust one another by simply being himself. Not to mention, he is a phenomenal footballer, musician, and actually pulls off the Tommy Bahama vibe. I don't take for granted that you call me coach, and Rickards, Goose, and I look forward to having you on staff in the fall. Congrats.
Mason Ebert, you have offered me an alarming amount of food. Donuts, Chick-fil-A sandwiches, candy, other things like Monster energy drinks and Baja Mountain Dew, things capable of destroying even the hardiest of kidneys. I normally decline politely. Sometimes I caved. Nevertheless, you love to eat, drink, and be merry all day. It's impressive. A few years ago, you collected every leftover jar of frosting after cookie decorating and ate from the jars with a spoon for the rest of the day. How did you even survive that? Yet, perchance, to you, food was never just food. You use it as a prism through which you know and love people. Last year, you wrote a paper contrasting the unsanitary food of the working class with the lavish feasts of the Gilded Age elite, revealing how something as ordinary as food could illuminate deeper truths about inequality. As our friends from Boston might say, my boy's wicked smart. But you're also righteously generous. Moving beyond academic analysis, you regularly serve those facing food insecurity through the Hillside Food Pantry. And when my bookcase collapsed last year, you quietly ordered and assembled a replacement with your own money. Turns out, food is just one prism that illuminates your generous heart. From helping your family after your mom's surgery to serving the needy in Nicaragua, you simply love to give. So, while I may never forget you in a case of Monster walking the halls with mythological consistency, I will remember something deeper. You always left people fuller than you found them, in spirit, in joy, and in love.
Mr. Hunt is tall. On the first day of school this year, I heard the pitter-patter of little feet as Anna marched up, lamenting, "I'm so bummed I can't take the Lewis and Tolkien class." Of course, I'm thinking, me too. I wish you could be there. But before I could even get a word out, you continued, "So I just read all of the books on my own over the summer." First of all, who does that? There's no pure example, though, in my mind of pursuing beauty and truth with a genuine sense of wonder and curiosity. And second, all I wanted to do in that moment was sit down and chat with you about them, because I knew that you would have incredible insights. I've seen it time and time again over these 4 years. You are a keen reader, a deep thinker, and not afraid to join even the toughest conversations. And somehow, unlike many of us literature types, you're also practical. You measure progress not in vague estimations, but in the number of steps it takes you to get there. And even if it takes you more steps than others, you never stop moving. Your accomplishments dwarf the competition. If, as Virgil says, it is allowed to compare small things with great, you are a colossus of achievement. And okay, I know what you're thinking. I can only get away with saying these things because I, too, am a Latin nerd. But, in short, I am incredibly proud of you. Have an awesome time in Boston next year, and for the love of all that is holy, please get more sleep.
Nathan, you are one of the few students that I have taught in 3 different classes spanning 5 semesters. While that might sound like an inauspicious beginning to a tribute, you have consistently been a joyful addition to my day, demonstrating curious intelligence, big-hearted warmth, and impish energy. Back in freshman physics, you would repeatedly ask me to connect our basic lessons to complex questions about modern technology or quantum physics. And nothing demonstrates a student's love for an intellectual challenge than you handing in an advanced physics test and casually saying, "That last problem was kind of fun." Yet, your interests have never been purely academic. I deeply appreciated the Monday morning you asked if we could share weekend stories first, genuinely wanting to connect as a community. This same endearing warmth shone through during your capstone project, helping seniors navigate technology. It takes a remarkably patient young man to meticulously write step-by-step instructions on how to operate an air fryer. Woven right through this intellect and warmth is a wholesomely mischievous spirit. You are the freshman who tangled a slinky when you became a bit too enthusiastic in lab. You are the sophomore that I found playing ping pong when you should have been coding. And you are the senior who got so excited about Senior Assassin that you inadvertently fired a water gun in the middle of class. Nathan, your curiosity, intelligence, warmth, and impish fun are a delight. May you continue to foster these traits and bless the campus of Furman University just as you have blessed ours.
Jack, you ask a lot of questions, and you are known as someone who asks questions. You began each morning with a question in carpool, but you continued that curiosity and wonder throughout the day. There's something deeply inspiring about the way you move through the world, with curiosity, humility, integrity, and a playful spirit that invites others in. Whether dressed as Leo the Lion, competing in the pool, or on the track, serving on SALT team, or faithfully arriving each morning to greet lower school students in carpool, you bring wholeheartedness to every task and person. What makes Jack so Jack is not just your enthusiasm, but it's the genuineness behind it. Your joy makes every place feel lighter as you delight in learning, in people, and the goodness of living each moment to its fullest. In class discussions, you speak with humility and thoughtful Christian wisdom beyond your years. In the Lewis and Tolkien classroom, your childlike wonder was evident in the creativity and joy you poured into a digital Lego project. You're simply content to be yourself, and that quiet confidence encourages others to do the same. You've also made every community you touch kinder and more welcoming. You notice people. You ask how others are doing, and you genuinely care about the answer. You keep your word. You can laugh at yourself. You can admit when you're wrong, and you bring fun even into the hardest practices through relays, trivia, or just a smile. Though you have only been at Trinity a few years, you beautifully embody the ideals of truth, goodness, and beauty. Jack, your life reminds us that wonder and curiosity are gifts. And we are so grateful you've chosen to generously share them with all of us. We know that you will step into your next adventure with an eagerness and wonder of all God has in store for you.
It's hard to pinpoint just one quality that stands out to me about Lucy because there's so many that come to mind. Maybe it's her unwavering joy, whether she's excitedly sharing an insightful thought on Philippians and advisory while raking sand in the mini Zen garden in the counselor's office, still the best advisory, remember, or continuing to encourage her teammates despite being sidelined by a soccer injury. Maybe it's her servant heart, making pancakes for everyone in advisory before even sitting down to eat herself, or spending countless hours volunteering as an athletic training intern, staying late after games to care for injured athletes, and stepping in to meet needs without ever being asked. Or maybe it's her compassion for others. Lucy has a remarkable ability to make people feel included and valued, often going out of her way to reach out to those who might otherwise feel overlooked. In advisory, she was especially intentional about connecting with younger students, asking about their interests because she genuinely cared, or encouraging those currently suffering through Mr. Colson's pre-calculus class because she had already survived it herself. But I think the best way to sum up all of these qualities is this: they are an outpouring of the love of Christ that is so evident in Lucy's life. Lucy, your faith in Jesus and your love for others are truly inspiring. I am so grateful for the ways you have impacted my life and the lives of so many people here at Trinity. I'm excited to see how the Lord continues to use you to reflect Christ's love at UNCW.
All right. A phrase coined by Mr. Hunt comes to mind when I think of Caleb: maturity whiplash. At times, Caleb is one of the most mature students I've taught. Well, at others, he's sending me strange emails from the bus on the way back from a tennis match. He'll know what I'm talking about. A story that perfectly encapsulates this is one time I was grading the workroom earlier this semester, and I hear what seems to be a NASCAR race in the hallway. I step out to see who is watching a NASCAR race at this time in the morning, but I see Caleb blowing into a Monster Energy can, which who knew can sound exactly like a race car. Just minutes later, Cornerstone starting and Caleb sharing the devotion. He's speaking on Isaiah 52, talking about how God is with us and redeems us out of hard circumstances. Caleb, I love your heart for God. I've seen it as you've opened our class in prayer so many times, thanking the Lord that he's blessed us for another day. You have this amazing ability to stay present and joyful amidst all the busyness around you. I think you embody what Hebrews 10 says, to spur one another on to love and good deeds. You're always the first one to welcome a new student, the first one to move seats when you see a classmate sitting alone. You're the first one to start clapping at any Cornerstone announcement, even when it's just come to insert name of club. My prayer as you head off to UNC is that you continue to hold on to that authenticity and the heart for people wherever God takes you. Keep making people laugh, encouraging those around you, and pointing others to Christ.
Right around this time, 4 years ago, I was talking after school with a few of my favorite former students. We say we don't have favorites, we do. They were brilliant, uncommonly kind, and so unapologetically, uniquely themselves. And that's when an 8th grade Maggie came in to take her Spanish placement test. The kids looked at Maggie, looked at each other, looked at me, and one just goes, "She's one of us." And how right they were. In the intervening 4 years, Maggie has proven herself to be all of those things and more. Between Spanish classes, winterrooms, lunchtime, role-playing games, and all of the before-school chats, I have spent a lot of time with Maggie during her upper school career, and I can confidently say she is a one-of-a-kind student. Who but Maggie would stop me in the hallway to talk about the ins and outs of Tolkien's Elven grammar? Who but Maggie would take a winterroom about etymologies, learn the meaning of Dr. Ficklin's full name, then proceed to call him Manly Man, Little Man for the next 2 years, to people who have no idea who that is? Maggie, ever since that Spanish placement test 4 years ago, I have known you were going to be a special student, but I never could have imagined just how much you'd come to mean to so many people, students and teachers, in the upper school. I know you're going to do amazing things next year at Mercyhurst, and I just hope that you'll come back to visit us to tell us all about whatever impossible to predict Maggie things you've been up to.
Noah, the first and foremost quality I associate with you is tenacity. In sophomore chemistry, you were determined to do the hard work and were ready to tackle any challenge. There were moments of great success and moments when, despite all of your effort, things didn't go the way you hoped. The thing is, the outcome never changed how you approached the next challenge. You didn't take the wins for granted, and you didn't let the losses deter you. You always came back ready to work just as hard as before. I promise you, that kind of steadfastness and perseverance is rare. I contacted your capstone mentor, Coach Hawkins, and he shared with me another testament of your tenacity. He wrote, "During the season, Noah proved himself to be dependable, prepared, compassionate, and fully committed to the development of our student athletes. He was always present, always engaged, and always willing to serve wherever needed. What impressed me the most was not simply his understanding of basketball, but his understanding of people. He naturally carried himself in a manner that encouraged, uplifted, and inspired others. That says a lot about you. The fact that Coach Hawkins wrote me an over 500-word email about working with you says even more. But maybe what says the most is the fact that the team you coached came to celebrate your senior night at the end of the basketball season. You have the kind of impact on people that goes far beyond the wins and the losses. I pray that you continue your journey, leading with perseverance, faith, and humility. The impact you make on others is already lasting, and the capacity you have to guide others is a true gift from God.
I did not have the opportunity to teach Nate until senior year, and I didn't know what to expect. Nate can fly a bit under the radar. Within a few short weeks, two qualities stood out: how hard Nate works and how enthusiastic he is to engage and learn, even in Spanish. Within a couple of months, I began teasing Nate about what a perfectionist he was, and so he is. A resilient and hardworking guy who sets high standards for himself, but remains notably humble. A leader, especially in swim and golf, who models for others pushing yourself, getting outside of your comfort zone, and who also helps create a culture that welcomes anyone and everyone to the team. I did get to experience another side of Nate this year, his fun and hilarious side, and he is hilarious. Maybe that side comes out more in a small class like we had, or maybe it comes out more around Willie Stoltz. Nate might fly under the radar, but I think it's for good reason. He's too smart to get caught up in the high school drama, too laser-focused on his goals, and wisely choosy about who he is going to spend time with. He has also been on a journey of becoming more comfortable in his own skin, figuring out what are truly his dreams versus the expectations others have for him. Nate, your humility and resilience, the obstacles you've already overcome, the wisdom and maturity you've shown in your choices, all of this is going to serve you well in these coming years. My prayer for you is that you continue to listen to the Spirit's voice in your life above all other voices, and that you be rooted in God's love for you as you use your unique gifts to make the world a better place.
Sadie Marstiller is like a clear blue northern lake. She is impressive, beautiful, strong, deep, a lake, for she does not have changing tides and crashing waves like an ocean. Instead, Sadie possesses a stillness, a serenity, and a calm, a centeredness that speaks of confidence and an inward peace. A lake looks steady and placid on the surface, but we all know that there is a whole world beneath. Within Sadie, too, are multitudes. She is a student, conscientious and diligent, pushing herself to excellence with an enviable nonchalance that belies how hard she works. She is an athlete. She has danced, she plays soccer, tumbles on a cheer squad, and swims, and she does all of these things with excellence. She is a mentor, a coach for younger kids in her local swim team, and she is known as Coach Sadie to a bunch of lower schoolers who she loved on as she helped teach PE this year. Her kindness and gentleness has made her a favorite babysitter to lots of kids. She's an excellent friend, and as her advisor, I have seen her be a really good best friend. She has heart and creativity. She is motivated and independent. In her time at Trinity, Sadie has shown us a deep well of substance, of faithfulness and goodness. Sadie, your strong stillness is a gift. May it bless you as you move on to a new place, and may you stay steady in the knowledge that God's love for you is an anchor when the world around you changes.
How how many of us here have hiked the entire Appalachian Trail? Okay, all right. How many have done so while in high school and completing a semester's worth of schoolwork? Looking at you, Jojo. Jojo, to say that you are an impressive young woman is perhaps the biggest understatement of the year. Alongside that insane feat, you have pursued several advanced courses spanning a myriad of fields, from mathematics to the art world to environmental studies, all with excellence and an authentic desire to explore and learn as much as possible. You pour yourself into everything you do, and we have seen you dream big in all of your endeavors. I mean, who else would try to rival the statistics work of one Timothy Chalamet? They say that one of the best things that a hiker could only hope for on the trail is a good companion. We have witnessed you being such a companion during your time at Trinity. The examples are many: tutoring students who are struggling in math, guiding young Girl Scouts through sharing your experience, leading others through a hike of your own during winterim, mentoring your peers in your advisory through difficult moments. You are truly there for others, supporting them in an understated yet powerful way, providing your grace and gentle wisdom. It has been such a privilege to witness and accompany you on this journey, this hike through the last 4 years, with its own breathtaking views and difficult obstacles, this quiet, unceremonious pilgrimage towards becoming the woman that God is calling you to be, one step at a time. You possess a rich interiority with a raw beauty and authenticity, and we can't wait to see how you will continue to share it with the world.
Where is Sarah? Oh, hi there. When you first approached me about a mural in the Latin classroom, 2 divergent thoughts flashed into my mind. For you, it would mean 60+ hours of research, hard work, creative exploration, a fantastic experience that, regardless of how things turned out, would help shape you as you graduate and go on to ever grander things. I, however, was going to have to stare at it every day for the rest of my career. From my perspective, there was a certain amount of risk involved. Hear me when I say, Sarah, not for a fleeting moment did I hesitate. Granted, I did find it amusing that you chose to depict the underworld. When you reflected on your 4 years of upper school Latin, the image that came to mind was hell. I wonder, though, if you were drawn to it in part because Virgil's description feels impossible to pin down, ever shifting, at times even contradictory. I wonder if for you it was something like jazz. I don't know anything about jazz, but it seems to me that in both art and music, you are drawn to the margins of traditional definitions. You play at the boundaries of form and rhythm, and you find beauty there. I love the vision of Virgil's underworld that emerged. Not all shadows, mires, and flames, but greens and cool blues. You refused to fixate on darkness and instead reminded us that Virgil shows light there too. Cool and light. That, Sarah, is what you are to those around you. Seniors, you're all wonderful. None of you is as cool as Sarah McClure. Sorry. And so, Sarah, all I pray is that you continue being exactly who you are. And I wish you all the best at UNC Charlotte.
I taught Sandra and much of the senior class as a freshman. Though I did not formally teach Sandra this year, one of her classes, her statistics class, met across the hall from one of my classes. So whether it be work time on a project or class breaks, she was often in my class as well as her own. This was a pleasure. For many, high school serves as a chrysalis, during which individuals metamorphosize into their mature selves. As in so many other ways, Sandra didn't take the path of the many. She has certainly matured, grown, gained knowledge and wisdom, but I have not seen a completely new person born from her high school experience. I've seen refinement. I've seen development. All of us have seen Sandra walking around with a cup of tea. I've seen this as a living metaphor for her time in the upper school. She has allowed herself to steep in the hot waters of rigorous classwork, to percolate in the non-Nobius culture of Trinity, to absorb and linger in the right moments in the right places, and to be patient enough to allow those things to work completely. Most people don't have the time or the patience for tea. Sandra does. Sandra, you are inquisitive, delightful, spontaneous, charming, ridiculous, brilliant, all the traits that make someone a good student, a great friend, and a lovely person. I eagerly await to hear how life goes outside of our walls for you at UNCG and beyond. The girl that I have affectionately called Sandy McDougal, may you continue the journey with the one who has drawn you to himself, redeemed you, and calls you friend.
You don't have to stand just because other people did. Like, if you want to sit down, that's fine too. So, Liza, I began writing this speech 4 years ago. I had to keep it to under 300 words, so don't worry. It was a hard moment for you. We were standing in the hall outside my room while you were working on your Epic of Gilgamesh essay and trying to come up with a so what. Oh, God. I was trying to talk you through it, but you were overwhelmed and glassy-eyed. You wanted to do it, but you couldn't. I know that there were other things in your life that mattered more at that moment. And that was when I started writing this tribute. Because it was clear to me that two things were clear to me. One was that there was more to you than just that moment. And second, that you were going to make it. That day in the hall was neither the first nor the last of your challenges. I took notes during your capstone presentation, and for those of you that don't know, Liza spent a summer interning at a physical therapy clinic. My notes included phrases like torn ACL ×2, setbacks, working with teens and adults I knew wouldn't listen to me. But you also included phrases like, the possibilities are in the setbacks. Me running for the first time since tearing my ACL. And me watching my friend run for the first time as she recovered from a torn ACL. You often present yourself as nonchalant. During your capstone presentation, your hands were in your dress the whole time. And you also present yourself as goofy, especially when you're with Sadie. But Liza, you are fierce and you are strong. You have faced hardship, and you have found that one way through hardship is helping others through theirs. You have mixed your strength with compassion, your perseverance with humor, and your grit with generosity. Your last 4 years with us have revealed what is truly in you. And that is why I can say with great confidence that no matter what you face, you will make it.
Amani, what a gift it has been to watch you flourish as an artist and student in your time at Trinity. When I think of you, what immediately comes to mind is your joy, seen in your beautiful smile and your can-do attitude, no matter the task set before you. Over the past 4 years, you have been in 6 shows, and I'm so proud of the ways you've grown both on stage and off. You eagerly seek out feedback so that you can push yourself to be a better artist, and you even offered your visual art abilities to craft beautiful custom portraits for our Arsenic and Old Lace set. As an artist, you excel in a variety of mediums, and your unique creativity is stamped into each role and artwork you produce. You have become more secure in your talents, yes. Who could forget your incredible scream in Murder on the Orient Express, or your turn as Mr. Memory in the 39 Steps? But you've also grown in confidence and love for exactly who God has created you to be. While you certainly express God's beauty in your artistic endeavors, I've most often seen it in your genuine care for others. Possessing a heart that loves to celebrate the successes of your friends, you are always the first to offer an encouraging word, a personal greeting, or an intentional compliment that demonstrates your ability to deeply know and love people. You are a young woman who is full of kindness, passion, and empathy, and I know that God will use you in the lives of many, just as he has used you at Trinity. We will miss your joyful soul and your bright smile. You are so loved, but I'm excited to hear about your next adventures.
Joshua, among your many contributions to Trinity, perhaps none rivals the enduring wisdom of the Pirate Code. If you know the Pirate Code, please stand and salute. No cuts, no butts, no coconuts. No stealing another pirate's booty. Bedtime is 8 p.m. because mom says so. Thank you. Created during a Model UN pirate simulation, this masterpiece somehow escaped into other classes. Yet, looking back over the past 4 years, I realize you live by another code. And like the best of codes, yours is one you follow quietly, faithfully carrying the responsibilities God placed before you. Your code is one of steadfast faithfulness. You are faithful in thought. You choose challenging texts from Dante and Marx to Hemingway and Continetti and engage them with delight and aplomb. You share your hard-earned wisdom with peers, elevating discourses. You are faithful in friendship, whether co-leading a golf winterim with Nate, mentoring novice Model UN delegates, or simply showing up. Your friends know that they can count on you. You are steadfast as a son. During difficult seasons for your family, as your mother faithfully gave her all as a daughter, she described you as her rock. Few compliments say more about a young man's character than that. And while your quiet, steadfast faithfulness rarely occupies center stage, its impact reverberates in the hearts of those you love. Like your biblical namesake, you became a source of steadiness, encouragement, and wisdom for those around you, even if you occasionally enforce the pirate code while doing so. May God continue to use you as a conduit of his faithfulness. And remember, no cuts, no butts, no coconuts. Some wisdom is simply timeless.
Davis, where to begin? Remember that time in digital storytelling when you signed up enthusiastically to do Trinity Hot Ones on camera? While interviewing a teacher, somewhere around sauce number 4, mid-question, you looked at the camera and you said, "I think my braces are melting off." And then you finished your question and continued the interview without missing a beat. That moment, the humor, the poise, the refusal to be rattled, that's the Davis Nichols that I've come to know here at Trinity. Davis, you're everywhere. You touch more corners of this school than almost anyone I can think of. And every single person I talked to when I was preparing this tribute said a version of the same thing. There's something in you that chooses joy every day on purpose. I know something about what that choice has cost you. You've carried weight that most people your age will never know, seasons of real loss, real uncertainty. And instead of quitting, you kept showing up to class, to the volleyball court, school tours, or to work at aftercare. One of your teachers said it best: your joy is not diminished by adversity, but shines all the more brightly because of it. That is not luck. That is character, formed through hardship. You dreamed up ivy as the motif of the 30th anniversary yearbook, and you did the work to make it beautiful. You taught yourself photography with very little input from me, and then proceeded to lead 2 photography winterums and Christian life breakout groups to help people see God at work through the lens. That's such a Davis thing to do, to take something you love and turn it into a gift for others. You learned the volleyball team's favorite songs and then played them during warm-ups. And the treats, all the treats. What are we going to do without all that encouragement? We're going to miss you. Grandma Carol, wherever you are, you raised someone very special. Thank you for what you've given this school. Davis, you're moving on to pursue a teaching career, and you're going to be a great one. Not because you never melt down, but because you keep on going. Just like you did in the Hot Wing interview. We're so proud of you, Davis.
I pride myself on being the guy with main character energy, who loves sharing esoteric knowledge about music, anime, and just the culture at large. I pride myself on that. That is until I met Michael Olubisi. Michael doesn't have main character energy, but he possesses an energetic and vibrant curiosity that people naturally gravitate towards. He simply knows so many things. And while he was an absolute joy to teach, he was also a bit frustrating because he often already knew the material. I'd excitedly introduce a concept like mise en scene, only for Michael to say, "Oh, yeah, I know what that is." This happened on more than one occasion, but Michael, this is truly your superpower. You genuinely love knowledge and learning about things that bring delight to yourself and others. I can easily picture you meeting someone new at UNC Charlotte, discovering that they love a show you've never heard of, and immediately researching everything about it just to make that person feel seen, heard, and valued. I watched you do this with your peers here, and I hope college brings you the classes and connections that allow your love for learning to shine. Michael, we're gonna miss you. Please keep discovering new things and bringing that vital energy into the world that we so desperately need. And I will miss your music and movie recommendations. But whenever you come back to visit, I can't wait to swap some new favorites with you. Keep being authentically you, and I know you will be amazed by how far your own brilliance takes you.
Curious, optimistic, joyful, thoughtful. These are a few words I think of when I think of Branson Page. Branson, your curiosity and thoughtfulness are a delight to witness. You are a gifted thinker who wants to know the truth, and you ask question after it, with a smile on your face or with your head under the hood of your grandfather's antique car. You are dedicated to learning, and this shows up not only in your grades, but in how deeply you engage with the material. You are not content to parrot what you've read. You want to integrate it within a Christian worldview, and your ability to see different sides of an argument means that when you come to a decision, you've thought through it well. But your gifts are not only intellectual. You are optimistic and joyful, and your cheerful nature is infectious. This changes the dynamic for everyone around you. As a new teacher at Trinity this year myself, you made the classroom a hospitable and welcoming place for me. You taught me how to use Google Classroom, and about once a week during G Block, you let me wear a sticker with your name on it. Other teachers told me about the sincere and kind affirmations you gave them when you walked through the halls, or the wave and a smile you gave when you peeked into their classroom. The enthusiasm you bring to this community makes for a better Trinity, and when you leave this place and head to UNC, where we are here, we are confident that you are going to make this place better too. I pray that you will keep your curiosity, your joy, your optimism, and your zeal for the truth wherever God leads you. God has given you so many gifts, and we are all excited to see where God leads you with them. And wherever you go, wherever that place is, we know that place will receive the gift of you, someone who is joyful, compassionate, cheerful, and thoughtful. Thanks for letting us know you.
Audrey, it's true that every life is a gift. I'm going to tell you some ways yours has been a gift to us. You're an excellent student. Sadly for me, I've never taught you, but rumors abound. To a person, your teachers speak about the pleasure of teaching you, not because you're smart, you are, not because you prepare well, you do. The joy is that you're deeply curious and genuinely interested in learning, finding more value in that process than you do in the grade. You're a brave athlete. I never got to coach you, but I've known about the injury that's hampered you and the ways you've worked to overcome it. Your coaches talk about your sportsmanship, how you rejoiced in your teammates' successes, faced competition with courage, and that, despite nursing that pesky knee, overcame your fears and ran relays for the sake of your team. As your advisor, this I have observed, your love for what matters most. Last year, you started the math club, creating a spot for like minds to consider and solve problems together. And your capstone, establishing a peer mentoring program, was about forging connections between upper and lower classmen, ultimately helping freshmen adjust to life in the upper school and building relationships across it. You've done all of this with commitment and real humility. And in that context, it's a gift to me to see you realize and honestly weigh the most magnificent gift, which is the grace of Christ. You take it all to heart, Audrey. Your authenticity is exemplary, encouraging all of us to strive harder after the good. What a gift you've been, and you are. Thank you so much.
If I had to sum up the spirit of Oliver in just one word, it would be infectious. Whether you have talked with him about fantasy football stats, sat in classes with him, participated in cross country, track, or a club, or really have spent more than 30 seconds with Oliver, you've walked away with a smile. Oliver's infectious smile and genuine attitude has impacted our hallways over the last 4 years, and I know that that spirit will be deeply missed. Working with Oliver has been such a joy because he approaches everything in life with a lighthearted, positive attitude. We've spent many hours filling out biology study guides, annotating humanities articles, discussing the American Revolution, and practicing rhetoric speeches. Through it all, he has never said a mean thing, made a complaint, or had a bad attitude. He is one of the most consistent and determined students I've ever worked with. Oliver's spirit is a reflection of who he is, the incredible love and support he has had over the years. I really understood Oliver on another level when he shared his personal college essay with me. His life story is a testament to overcoming hardship, not succumbing to the darkness, and to the beauty and gifts of others in our lives. Oliver has chosen to use his story to give to those around him. Through his time and service raising money and awareness for children with cleft palates with Smile Together, and through the work he did through his capstone at the food bank, Oliver has embodied the meaning of giving of himself while blessing those in his path along the way. Oliver, you are a bridge builder. You have built yours with grace, humility, love, and the support of your family, friends, and community. You have so much to give, whether you pursue sports management, nonprofit development, architecture, or anything else that comes your way at Elon. You are a gift, and I'm genuinely a better person for knowing you.
Good evening. Federico Pineda Correal. few years ago, Ms. Winters approached me after tryouts one day. Said, we got a potential student coming from Florida, late enrollee, basketball is his primary sport, when he's played soccer, can he try? Oh yeah, he can try out. What's his name? I said, Federico. I said, that guy's on the team. Yeah, there's something miscommunicated here, because that's a footballer, I'll tell you that. Next day, a stoic figure came up and introduced himself to me and Ritkers. Said, my name is Fetty, and trotted off. Stepped on the pitch. Ritkers and I watched our new mysterious friend glide around the midfield like Hemingway's Romero. The ball is caped, the defenders, the bulls, and Fetty, the maestro matador. He had the old thing, purity of line through maximal exposure. In the coastal region of Colombia, children playing on the street would stop playing football in awe of the passing bullfighters, much like the lower middle schoolers do at a home match on a Friday night, watching Fetty dance in the midfield. But this bravado swagger is not limited to the pitch. A certain gravitas follows Fetty wherever he goes. The service learning component of environmental studies led Fetty and I to an unlikely partnership with a few bird watchers in the Audubon Society outreach program. They needed somebody that could speak Spanish, but also had the charisma to capture the attention of Hispanic youth to care about birds. I said, I know a guy. Senor Fetty. Fetty, what a blessing it has been to have you as part of our program, school, community these past years. And reminiscing on these memories makes me smile. I'm proud to have been a part of your journey. You found your voice and style as a leader. You can capture a room with poise, and we can see your influence here at Trinity now and probably very, very long ways into the future. A legacy that will live on in the chants of the football lads, the Leona's Hispanic Club, and the lore of those young bird watchers down at the Eno. Congratulations.
Hannah Pooley is someone who takes you by surprise. Seemingly small in size and sweet in demeanor, you're not always prepared for what lies underneath. A feisty and fearless spirit who fights for what is right and who works tirelessly in pursuit of her goals. While she has always been a force on the soccer field, we have witnessed a transformation in her impact on the upper school over her 4 years at Trinity. She's gone from a somewhat quiet and unsure freshman, happy to stay in the background, to a student government leader, standing at the front of the school, both literally and figuratively, actively shaping the culture of the community around her. That impact has grown as Hannah has gained confidence in who she really is. A person of deep faith who trusts God through the challenges of life, a supportive friend who seeks out relationships that will grow her into a better version of herself, and a bridge builder who looks out for those on the margins, welcoming them and creating a safe space for all without judgment. Through it all, Hannah has exhibited incredible wisdom and resilience. Hannah never plays the victim. Whether it's food she can't eat due to her allergies, or the way a soccer match plays out, or a grade she gets, Hannah doesn't complain, but rather takes on the challenges of life with a confidence in the gifts God has given her and a patience that trusts her future is in God's hands. You've brought so much joy to our school, and not least of all to our advisory group. Okay. Your joyful energy, your wisdom, and your kindness have been such a gift. In that spirit, as you move on from Trinity, I say to you, don't have a good life, have a great life. And I know you will.
Some people light up rooms. Kevin practically sets them on fire. You, madam, are a captivating conflagration of charisma. From the moment you arrive, people know it. Your passion, and exuberance enter before you do. You bring enthusiasm, laughter, humor, and approximately the energy of 17 people combined. Subtlety has never really been your thing, and praise God for that. Whether belting songs as the fairy godmother in Cinderella, moving audiences as the bird lady in Mary Poppins, or leading worship through song, you never seem interested in doing anything halfway. You throw your whole heart into every role, every performance, every moment. You were not created for the background. Yet, your greatest performances never happen under stage lights, because the fire people see on stage is not an act. You have grown into an emotionally intelligent, intuitive firestorm. You befriend the lonely, encourage the discouraged, and show up for your friends. Some people draw attention to themselves. You draw people toward yourself, like the hearth in the center of a home. Your outer fire emanates from an inner one forged in the furnaces of your lived experience. And while your joy and charisma are impossible to miss, I suspect your greatest strength is something quieter, your resilience. Life has refined you rather than hardened you. Through challenges, growth, and change, you have continued showing up with humor, authenticity, faith, and heart. So please also continue setting rooms ablaze with joy, truth, music, laughter, and love. Keep bringing warmth to a world that desperately needs it. And keep allowing God to fuel your fire, bringing His light to the darkness.
As an avid hockey player, a devoted fan of Duke men's basketball, and someone often sprinting into Cornerstone just a little bit later than expected, Nicholas, you carry yourself with a quiet steadiness that is easy to admire. You're a young man who has learned how to improvise well, not just in music, but in life. Improvisation in music requires attentiveness, humility, discipline, and courage. It asks a musician to listen carefully, respond thoughtfully, and then move forward with confidence, even when the next phrase has not yet been written. You've embodied those same qualities throughout your years at Trinity. Though never the loudest person in the room, you possess what Tony Dungy once described as quiet strength. There's a calm confidence in the way you lead, serve, and treat others. You do not seek attention or recognition, yet your reliability, professionalism, and genuine humility consistently earn the respect of those around you. Whether making music with lower and middle school band kids, participating in worship, or just jamming with your friends, Nicholas, you have been a steady presence and a faithful team player. As a musician, you play far beyond your years. Your growth has been evident in your technical excellence, maturity, and depth. Yet what stands out most is not merely your talent, but it's the spirit with which you carry it. You have shown that strength does not require bluster, leadership does not demand volume, and excellence is most beautiful when joined with humility. Your genuine smile, quiet confidence, and steadfast character have left a lasting mark on this community. Nicholas, your life already reflects the beauty of someone learning how to listen carefully, adapt faithfully, and improvise with wisdom and grace. We cannot wait to see all the ways the Lord continues to shape your story in the years ahead.
Luke, I fear this is going to be more serious than either you or I are, but we're going to give it a whirl. Luke, as a freshman new to Trinity, you had to figure out how much of yourself to share. As a senior, you were willing to sit on a panel at upper school worship and share not only yourself, but wisdom that the younger students needed to hear. During that panel, you specifically spoke about a verse from Matthew, "You are the light of the world." You explained that while a candle may feel safest under a jar, it cannot shine there. That image captures your journey perfectly. You have learned that growth requires vulnerability and that your gifts are meant to be shared. You have become deeply self-aware. During your capstone presentation, you described yourself as selfish, but I see something very different. I see the maturity to recognize your own needs and that you care enough to question yourself. In reality, you are thoughtful, compassionate, and intentional. You have gained the confidence to embrace who you are. You have learned that being yourself means standing comfortably in your own identity, grounded in what is true about you, regardless of a meaningless sea of stereotypes. I have always known you to love a good puzzle, and it has been a privilege to watch you patiently assemble the pieces of your character, confidence, and faith. The completed picture is a young man whose light shines brightly and blesses everyone around him. Good luck in all that lies ahead of you.
I've had the pleasure of being Lawson's math teacher his freshman year and his advisor for the last 3 years. As a freshman, he was in my Algebra 2 class. And in this time, I've come to realize that he and I share in common what I call an Etch-a-Sketch brain. Much can be held inside, but one aggressive shake, it's all gone. You can ask my wife, this is true. A prime example of this has been Lawson asking his senior statistics teacher, Mrs. Brignoni, on a regular basis when their final test will be, only to be told again that there is no final test, but a final project. To which he appears comically astonished, as if this is essentially hearing this for the first time. What is also astonishing is that you would assume this might drive a teacher or a coach or a parent or an advisor insane, but rather, this is one of the myriad of traits that makes Lawson so endearing. In fact, this case of something oxymoronical is quite common here. Here's a young man who seems so laid back and carefree, yet an accomplished swimmer with all conference honors and first in the boys' 400-meter relay at the conference championship. A faithful volunteer with the Ronald McDonald House, ran for student body president, crafted an excellent capstone project with the Twinity swag, and finished the year excellently. On one hand, he is certainly a normal 18-year-old high school male, but that barely does justice to the individual. All the expectations of his age or his laid-back demeanor are quite different from the realizations he has produced in his 12 years at Trinity. Lawson, you are driven, passionate, care deeply about succeeding, and you're willing to work hard. Growing from that boy who helped hide a speaker in the ceiling during our freshman math class, to the man who found success in the pool and in the classroom, you have proven that you can meet the high expectations you've set for yourself. I'm proud to have taught you, to be your advisor, and to have known you. Congratulations, Lawson.
There's one image, one object, that anyone who knows Kirsten at Trinity will immediately associate with her high school accomplishments. It's not a tennis racket, though she has achieved much with one in hand. It's not a coach's whistle, though she has invested deeply in younger players. No, I am referring, of course, to her binder. Kirsten's binder is a thing of legendary repute. Whenever Kirsten sits down in the Commons to get homework done or opens her backpack in class on a review day, she inevitably begins by pulling out a binder so densely packed with the accumulated strata of what appears to be decades worth of schoolwork that it seems perilously close to bursting. But what does this tightly layered bundle of papers illustrate? What kind of mind does this mostly mobile archive reveal? Kirsten, your binder might serve as a fitting emblem of your hard work. As a student, athlete, and coach, your responsibilities at Trinity have been truly multi-layered, held together only by your willpower and dedication. Your binder might also represent your natural gifts as a writer and thinker. Words come easily to you. It's almost as though you carry 1 million of them in your bag at all times. Or it might serve as a symbol of your resilience in the face of challenges. Although others might not see it, you are one of the bravest students that I have taught. You never give up, even on those days when it seems like you're carrying far too heavy a load. No, I can't think that your binder could represent organization gone awry, but rather real learning, which is never neat, polished, or effortless. And with your gifts, your hard work, and your willingness to step outside your comfort zone, I know you will accomplish great things at Swarthmore and beyond. Congratulations.
So parents first, for how many of you is this graduation, this is your first high school graduate? Okay. How many of you, this is your last high school graduate? Okay. There's one thing that I've learned as I get older, and it's that one of the great gifts that a person can give you is their time. Willie, you and I came to Trinity the same year, and you are the one student that has been with me all 4 years. First in humanities as a student, and then in our advisory. Over those 4 years, there are a lot of Willie stories, but my favorite Willie story is the sauce story. Yes. One lunchtime, all the teachers were in the workroom, and we hear this growing, pulsating roar coming from the commons. And when it became clear that ignoring the sound was unwise, I hurried out to see what was going on, and there's a large gathering of students. And I'm elbowing my way to the center, and there at the center is a trash can, and Willie, and a giant bowl of Chick-fil-A sauce. And he's on his knees over the trash can. He's downing the sauces one by one, and he's looking green in the face. And I don't understand why somebody would be doing this. And so my question to him is, Willie, is someone making you do this? And he's leaning over the trash can. No. Apparently he had been dared to eat all the sauces in the bowl, and he was going for it. And he did, in fact, get all the sauces down, momentarily. That story is, as you heard from the reaction, a part of Trinity lore, but it also illustrates an important theme. Willie, you are not a traditional leader, someone who is loud and out front and telling others what to do. You are a gatherer, and you pull people together even if your strategies are sometimes unconventional. You didn't drink the sauce for attention. You did it because it was you, and that brought people together. Almost everything we've seen you do at Trinity has brought people together and allowed their individual gifts to come out. Whether it's going to the gym with CJ or Asa, building a clothing brand with Caleb and Branson's help, sitting in the commons with your people, just being present in advisory, or yes, even with Sarah when she forgets her lunch. You give the gift of presence, of time, and of attention. In a world that constantly clamors for attention, you possess yourself in a way that allows you to give your attention to what matters most. No wonder people enjoy being around you. You see them, and that tells them that they are important. We are proud to have seen you grow into this kind of person, and I am blessed and thankful that you have given a portion of your time to me. We will miss you.
La, li, lu, lo. Did you hear that last note? Yeah? That last note was a bass note. It may sound funny on its own, but it has a vital purpose. As bassist Victor Wooten says, the bass is the link. The bass is the link between harmony and rhythm. It is what all the other instruments stand upon. The link, the bedrock. Ethan, these images remind me of you. Like the bass guitar you play, your life has a musical quality. For the past 2 years, you have linked the smallest children and the oldest students at our school, leading TK buddies with a steady rhythm. Working off campus, you made connections with a wider community, and while leading Bible studies and breakout groups, you helped link people to God's Word and one another. But there's also that solidity. Teachers respect you for your conscience. Peers call you the therapist within your friend group. In 10th grade, you researched freedom songs from Gandhi's Salt March. In one bhajan, the marchers praise people who, quote, feel the pain of others, who help those suffering, and who do so without pride. These are words about you, Ethan. Whether in worship, sports, or studies, your life has been a bass line in the music of our community. Last year, you read the sermons of Martin Luther King Jr. Here's a line from his most famous speech. With this faith, he says, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. In that symphony, we will need all kinds of notes. High notes, middle notes, and yes, bass notes. With God's help, Ethan, I pray that you will bring that sound, that beautiful sound, to UNC next year as you turn the next page in the songbook of your life.
I can't help but smile every time I interact with Max. He calls me Unc, even though I am the second youngest member of the upper school faculty. A year ago, while subbing here at Trinity School, I wondered which student would make my experience truly joyful. And Max ended up being that student, whether he knows it or not. Imagine my delight when I found out that he'd be in my class this year. I had the honor of teaching Max in film and literature this fall, and that class was nothing short of a good time. He brought an energy to analyzing movies that surpassed my own. Max, your eagerness to learn about film and culture and the world at large will take you incredibly far in your academic career. My favorite Max moment happened during our final project, which required reading a sci-fi book and comparing it to its film adaptation. And like any senior, in the last 4 weeks of the semester, he groaned. However, he chose the book The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. A few days later, Max stopped me in the hall and said, Mr. Tawari, you didn't tell me that this book is actually hilarious. I am dying laughing. Seeing him bring such a genuine joy to reading and dissecting film will always be one of my favorite teaching memories. Max, I felt constantly encouraged by your presence here at Trinity, and I know the community at Davidson will feel the exact same way. Keep exuding joy and keep being authentically you. You have an uncanny ability to find delight in the most unexpected places, and you include anyone and everyone in your happiness. So good luck in everything you do, and yes, when diploma's in hand, we'll finally play Fortnite together.
Good evening, once again. Reed Thomas. Reed and his brother Ethan are often indistinguishable without much context. However, once you get to know them, the subtleties are quite distinctive. I can pretty quickly tell you apart on the pitch now, and I'm not sure I ever told you about the De Boer twins for the Dutch club, the Ajax. One brother was left-footed and had a very different playing style than its right-footed counterpart. And the only way you could tell them apart was when they were out there playing. Apart from the 6-week period mustache phase, not sure why that had to leave us there. Additionally, Reed is quite introspective. He has a pretty thought-out justification for every opinion that he has, everything from movies to environmental policy. He reminds me of my youngest brother, Cale. He's a deep thinker himself. If I ever needed an honest, well-thought-out opinion on something inconsequential or a huge life decision, one of those two would be my first ask. Each preseason, we read the parable of the talents, the understanding that we all have spiritual gifts that contribute to the team. Though some talents might be more glamorous than others, if we are all to be excellent, we must figure out what those gifts are and spin them until we have nothing left. Reed is the epitome of this idea. He's conscientious of his gifts and which ones to support his friends with the most. Tell you what, when it comes to the idea in Mark 10:45, I did not come to be served, but to serve, Reed is a force multiplier for a team, classroom, or community. And I have no doubt that you will continue this in Chapel Hill in the fall. Congrats.
EJ. Oh, there you are. How can I miss that smile? We all know it and love it, and we've been blessed by it. Your smile has been one of the quiet gifts of this community. It has filled hallways, classrooms, fields, and gathering places with warmth and joy, revealing the heart behind it. As Scripture reminds us, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And your life reflects a heart grounded in faith, in kindness, and in love for others. EJ, you have a fierce heart for Jesus that does not demand attention, yet it deeply influences the people around you. Whether leading a spiritual life breakout group or encouraging younger teammates or simply bringing steadiness and positivity into everyday moments, your faith has been evident. In your advisory, you have spoken with sincerity and warmth, and that's part of why you are so loved. And EJ, the importance of family in your life has taught you how to genuinely care for people. On the cross-country team, your teammates ran with more confidence because you believed in them. And people wanted to join because of the joy and the encouragement that you brought. You created an environment where others felt welcome. They felt valued and they were capable and felt like they were capable of more than they thought possible. You make every place that safe haven everyone desires to find. What makes your example especially beautiful is how grounded you are. In a season where the noise of stress and anxiety can often dominate, you've carried yourself with refreshing peace, rooted in faith, family, and genuine friendships. EJ, you've lived your Trinity years with grace, humility, and joy. Your genuine smile, your faithful heart, and your deep love for others have left a lasting mark on this community. And there is no doubt that wherever God leads you next, people will be better because you are there.
Levi Todd, for no other senior tribute have I been so tempted to lean into a good roast. I've got some fantastic memories of a freshman Levi Todd, the contrarian for contrariness' sake. But I also know that no one cringes, maybe, at some of those memories. more than the senior Levi Todd, and he's who I want to focus on tonight. The simple fact that you can look back and laugh at your former self is proof that you have grown, and dare I say, even matured. Levi, you are a critical and methodical thinker who time and time again show that diligence and patience pay off. Set a task before you, you chip away at it with dogged determination. In marathons, both figurative and literal, you're an inspiration to those around you, myself included. If Levi Todd can run 26 miles at a 7:30 pace, then maybe, just maybe, I can one day run 1 mile that fast. Probably not. Over our wide-ranging discussions in the Latin classroom, from Julius Caesar's crossing of the Rubicon to the nature of Catullus' romantic relationships, you've helped us engage honestly with challenging material. But over these 4 years, I've noticed a distinct shift. In place of that contrariness and eagerness to ask tough questions and debate them, which are good things, you've cultivated a willingness to listen first and an openness to new ideas. This is not to say that you are easily swayed, no, but only that as you've matured, your search for truth has found stronger footing in humility. I wish you all the best at UNC Levi, and it brings me personally so much joy that someday you will soon be saying, "Go Heels."
Avery, when I sat down to think about the impact you've had on our school, my mind kept drifting to a very specific story. While I hesitate to compare Trinity to dystopian fiction, you share distinct qualities with Katniss Everdeen, the heroine of the Hunger Games. Fierce resilience, profound devotion, and formidable athleticism. As a 4-year starter across multiple sports, you never shied away from fierce competition. Too often, you carried a double portion of the load when teammates were sidelined. Yet, like Katniss, you remained steady and fought hardest when the odds were not in your favor. The same resilience defines you in the classroom, where faculty note how gracefully you accept feedback, quietly returning to the drawing board to deliver ever-improving work. Just as Katniss cherishes her community, your devotion to your peers is readily apparent. You've been your teammates' anchor, voicing post-game concerns, keeping them focused, lifting spirits after tough practices. Though you never waste words, your deep loyalty shines through your touching senior tributes and notes of gratitude. And this year in particular, you demonstrated that same moving, protective devotion to your younger brother. And finally, Katniss' skill with a bow reminds me of the athletic feats you make look entirely effortless. Friends, I challenge you to find a point guard that wins every jump ball. Avery, at Trinity, you knit these qualities together in selfless service, blessing our community through SALT Group, coaching middle school basketball, and volunteering at numerous events. Fortunately, this isn't dystopia. But it is a world that desperately needs people who, when they face challenges and injustices, will fearlessly raise their hand and say, "I volunteer." I am deeply grateful you are one of those people. May God bless your journey.
Good evening. The story you are about to witness is one of Celsius cans and power tools, stage management, and a Belgian man with a silly mustache. What better way to spend a pleasant evening together? So, with some definite paraphrasing and an accent much better than mine, began Roman's first on-stage performance as Hercule Poirot in Murder on the Orient Express. And while you haven't gotten back on stage yet, Poirot's inquisitive, empathetic, and kind nature is not that different from you. You, Roman, love to ask questions, break things apart, examine them, and put them back together in a way that leaves them better than when you found them. Whether competing in Model UN or working during many lunches and study halls to build props or sets for tech theater. Similarly, with your friends, people come to you for advice, and you ask empathetic and insightful questions that challenge them to think deeply, make good choices, and become better. And this wisdom comes from your deep faith in Christ. Your heart of service for others colors everything you do. However, it's almost guaranteed that this service goes unnoticed by others since Roman doesn't want attention for himself. The influence you've had on others in theater through your profound and steady leadership and friendship was seen most clearly in the tributes you received after Cinderella, though before the show you asked me if you could not receive a tribute, please. It was clear how very loved you are when student after student after student after student spoke about your impact on them. And now I have the privilege of sending you off with one final tribute. You have left an indelible mark on many lives through your kind giving of yourself. I'll miss you entering my room with a "saw, dude," as you have at least 4 times a week for the past 3 years, but I'm eager to see all that God will accomplish in and through you.
Elijah, you're known as a thinker, an intellectual gentleman. One colleague even told me, and I'll paraphrase, if Elijah makes it to his 90s, he'll die with a book in his hand. It would be a mistake, however, to reduce your story to a journey of the mind. What has impressed me even more has been your journey of the heart. Joining the Honor Council, for example, you knew in your head what justice was, but it was sitting face to face with peers in crisis that taught you to awaken your heart, to shift your focus from punishments toward people. To quote your own words, I have come to value the importance of the relational role of the council, to connect with students and have empathy for them. That's heart talk, is what that is. As a junior, you processed the loss of your beloved Nani in a speech about grandparents, saying, "We must make the most of the time we have with them." And in answer to their love for us, you said, "Let us go show them that love." That, friend, is not just the head talking. How fitting it seems that you spent part of that junior year working on the design for a device that would transport the very organ that was growing within you, the heart. Lastly, as student body president, your senior year has stretched your heart to love not just friends, but strangers, not just the high, but the lowly. I know your Nani would be so proud of you, and I believe she would join me in this blessing. Let them say of him in years to come, if Elijah makes it till his 90s, may he die with a book in his hand, and his heart as big as the whole Duke Chapel.
When I first met Joshua Worsham, I couldn't wait to learn more about his story. He has been shaped by homeschool co-ops in India and a true expression of an Acts 2 community modeled in his family. I watched him step into leadership with consistency and humility, his heart pure, his commitment clear. I saw his diligence in both the seen and unseen responsibilities. Josh, you love people well. Josh has this altruistic vibe that draws people to him. Jesus shines through the way he lives his life. His steady faith is beautiful because it's real. You can just tell. Josh knows and loves that Jesus is near to him. One of my favorite observations of you was when you spoke in front of our church to share more about your spiritual growth through Christ Central's youth group. I was blown away by your poise. People trust Josh to come through. Josh, I pray that you continue to attract people who will honor and reciprocate that loyalty. As you become a mountaineer, remember who and whose you are, a child of God. Hold on to your roots so that when the wind blows, as it inevitably will, you will remain solid, steadfast, grounded in God's truth. I pray that you would hold on to the 2 Chronicles, keeping your eyes fixed on Jesus as he leads you in this next chapter of your life. May it be one of abundant blessings and beautiful community. Congratulations, Josh. You are so very loved.
Emily proves on a daily basis that you need not be the loudest in the room to be the most interesting. Her journey has already crossed continents, from China to Australia, finally landing here in Durham, and soon Wilmington. With each move, she's had to adapt and adjust to new cultures and new schools, all while keeping an eye on Tom. Journeys like Emily's don't just change where you live, they shape and become part of your story, and what a story Emily has to tell. This year, she brought her unique perspective into her capstone project by starting her own novel. While her ideas began one way, they evolved into something else, a reminder that our stories don't have to follow a set path to be meaningful. And that feels fitting because her life so far has been anything but one path. It's a collection of experiences that continue to unfold. Mr. Hunt shared with me a long list of the qualities and talents he admires in Emily. One observation in particular stood out to me. He said that as a writer, Emily maintains thematic consistency. And the more I think about that, the more it feels true of her life as well. Emily adapts and perseveres through everything, yet always remains unmistakably herself. Whether she's writing a book, sharing her love of anime and film and lit, immersed in a video game, or finding joy in the rainy day that the rest of us are complaining about, one thing is always clear. Emily has a story to tell, and this is only the beginning.
Athena, we are so very glad that you chose to come to Trinity. We've seen your curiosity and resilience and eagerness to learn as you've pursued challenges both in classes and beyond the classroom. As part of the robotics team, you taught yourself the programming needed to contribute and then helped others with coding. After you did a machine learning internship in the summer, you shared your new skills with fellow students, founding Trinity's AI and Machine Learning Club. In your capstone project, your deep passion for solving problems and your gifts for technology surfaced as you helped a local nonprofit, Bull City Woodshop, develop better systems for managing data. Because of your time and gifts, this important group serves both volunteers and clients more effectively. Your work there, in addition to volunteering at a food bank and a thrift store, have not only allowed you to help other people, but learn about yourself as well. Over these last years, you've navigated the challenges of living in a new country, leaving family behind, pursuing education in a second language, and adjusting to the academic rigor of Trinity. Your independence and desire to learn are a wonderful combination. When you came to Trinity in your sophomore year, you told me that you were looking for a school with more opportunities and greater educational challenges. As your advisor, I've seen you grow in your knowledge, not just academically, but your knowledge of yourself, your ability to manage classes and life. You thrive when you have a problem to solve. You love having new challenges, and this will serve you well in college and beyond. May you see God's goodness in your life in the future at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, and may you come back and tell us how it's going. God bless you.
What an amazing evening to hear those tributes. Often when I'm interviewing someone looking to work at Trinity, I say that I've never been part of a more mission-driven organization than Trinity. For those of you who don't know the mission, the seniors will recite it for you so that they can get their diploma tomorrow. So seniors, no, just kidding. But I'll read it for you. The mission of Trinity School is to educate students in transitional kindergarten to grade 12 within the framework of Christian faith and conviction, teaching the classical tools of learning, providing a rich yet unhurried education, and communicating truth, goodness, and beauty. So tonight, as you think back of what you've heard the mission in action. You heard about Christian faith and conviction. You heard about the classical tools of learning in meta skills of the grammar, logic, and rhetoric. You've heard about the rich and unhurried education that was told in the stories in the classroom. And you heard that communicating the truth, goodness, and beauty of the senior class. That doesn't happen without having a dedicated faculty and staff who are dedicated not only to the mission of Trinity, but to each and every one of their students. So will the faculty and staff of Trinity School please stand so we can thank you for your gift to this class. And while the mission is to educate students, we would not have any students to educate if parents didn't choose this type of education for their students. Parents, we thank you for your partnership, for entrusting us with your students, with their lives, and we honor you tonight. Would you, parents of the class of 2026, please stand so we can thank you as well. And finally, to the class of 2026, you are the largest senior class we have ever had in number, in 56. But as we've heard tonight, you're also large in your character, large in your faith, and large in your love for each and every one of your classmates in the school and people you come in contact with. It's been an honor to watch you grow over the years, and we look forward to celebrating you again on Friday. So will this class of 2026 please stand so we can recognize you as well. And don't forget, you have to be in the gym at 1 o'clock tomorrow for graduation rehearsal. Please don't be late. Let's close with prayer. Dear Lord, we just thank you for who you are and your loving nature that sent your Son on this earth to save each and every one of us, Lord. We thank you for Trinity School, a place where we can honor you through the education of young lives. We thank you for our dedicated faculty and staff who give of themselves each and every day to know each student as an image bearer of you and to cultivate and grow these students into the great young men and women that sit before us today. So we thank you for the opportunity to share your love with them, and we thank you for the opportunity to celebrate this amazing class of 2026. We thank you for all you do. In Jesus' name, amen. Have a wonderful evening.